Alright, to kick off part 2, we need to download and install Windows 10 to our flash drive. So the first thing you want to do is plug in your flash drive to your main computer, and we want to download the tool to install Windows. So let that download, and then once that's done, we want to click yes. This will take a little bit of time. I don't know exactly how long. It depends on how fast your computer and your flash drive are. Hopefully your flash drive is 3.0 and hopefully you have a 3.0 port on your computer, because that'll speed up this process quite a bit, I imagine. USB 2 is just really, really slow. Okay, hit accept, go to the next part. Now we need to click on Create Installation Media. Do not click Upgrade this PC. Usually this will have it correct the first time, but if it doesn't, pick the language that you speak. Windows 10, 64-bit, USB flash drive is correct. As you can see here, it detected mine. Now I already installed it on mine, so I'm not actually going to go through the process of doing it. And also keep in mind that it does say it will delete everything, so pull everything off of that flash drive that you need before you do this. Let that finish. Once it's done, you can close out of that, and you won't have to do anything else with that. And then next we need to go to Windows 10 Lite. Again, both of these links are going to be in the description, so you don't have to search them out. This is on SourceForge. You're going to click download, and then once that gets downloaded, it's going to look like this. And if we open that up, we will see there's a folder inside. So we're going to take this folder and we're going to copy it into our flash drive directory. Now when you do this, you want to put it in here like this. You don't want to put it in another folder. So as you can see here, I've already done that, and that's what it looks like. And here are the things that are inside. The reason we're going to do it this way is so that we can actually access it when we're installing Windows, and it's going to delete a bunch of things, or at least disable a bunch of things in Windows, so that we don't get a lot of lag or storage problems once we start to install. Alright, do a quick jump cut to the next section of part 2.
Alright, so in this next part, make sure that you have your 4-port USB hub plugged in, your USB flash drive, your keyboard, your mouse, and I believe that is everything. Oh, you'll obviously need to put in your power plug and your HDMI cord, but I assume you know that. And then as you turn it on, you're going to be pressing delete on your keyboard over and over and over and over again. The reason we're going to press delete over and over and over again is so that we can get to this menu here in the BIOS. Once you're in here, come over to the boot menu, come down to boot option number 1, and change this to your USB flash drive. Now it's not going to say USB flash drive, but IP4 and IP6 are your gigabit connector on your Atomic Pi. In other words, this is your Ethernet port. So you don't want either of these, we want this one here. So it should be fairly easy to just determine which one it is. But if you're unsure, look at your flash drive, figure out what the name brand is of your flash drive, and it should show up here, and you should be able to figure it out. If it doesn't work, what won't happen is you won't be able to boot into the Windows setup, so you're going to know pretty quickly if it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, just turn it off, turn it back on, do the same thing until you get it correct. Once you have the correct one, you're going to hit save and exit. Yes, we want to save configuration and reset. Now that we've done that, it should boot off the USB flash drive and put us into the Windows setup. Okay, once we're here, we're going to click on Windows 10 64-bit. And then it'll take a quick moment here and it will load into the setup. This is a little circle, there it is. The little ball is creating a circle. Okay, so what we're going to do here is a little bit different than how you would normally install Windows. So don't press anything here just yet. The thing we want to do instead is we want to pull up the command prompt on this particular page. So we're going to hit Shift, hold it down, and press F10. It should bring up the command prompt. Now the way to do this is we need to figure out which drive letter our drive is actually on, our USB flash drive is. So let me turn this a little bit so you get a better view. There we go. This is currently what it's showing, and it's showing the X drive. The X drive is not what we want. We want the flash drive. So we're going to input the following command. And yes, you'll have to do it exactly the same. WMIC space logical disk, disk with a K, all together, no space there, space get, space device ID. And that's going to be all together. And then you can hit enter. And it's going to show you which devices we have. Now, I know you're looking at this and you're going, okay, but that doesn't really tell me anything. It does, you just don't realize it yet. In order to figure out the correct device, in other words, in order to figure out which one of these is our USB flash drive, we're going to input that command one more time. But before we do that, we're going to unplug our USB flash drive. By unplugging it, whichever one of these doesn't show up a second time is the correct letter. So let me show you what I mean. Just type it in again. And as you can see, the letter D has disappeared. So now we know that the flash drive has been assigned to the letter D. So you're going to go ahead and plug in again. Your flash drive, plug that in one more time. And instead, this time we're going to input a different command because now we know which drive we need to use. So now instead, we're going to type in, I kind of screwed that up, but do it like this instead. Just type in the drive letter with a semicolon and it will switch over to it. It's just easier. Next, once we're actually inside of there, we need to go into the Windows Lite folder inside of the flash drive. So I think this part is actually wrong in the instructions, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it is. So this is what we need to do instead of what the directions say to do. Change directory, win with a capital W, Lite, capital L-I-T-E, 10 V, capital V, 8. And the reason we're doing this is the name of the folder that Windows 10 Lite is actually in. So when you extracted the Windows 10 Lite folder onto your desktop, you move that over to your Windows 10 installation, and now it's inside of there. If you didn't do that, if you took the files out of the folder and put them directly into the drive, you don't need to change directory because you're already going to be there. It's not going to need to go inside of another folder because technically you're already in the correct place. That being said, this next step will be exactly the same regardless. So now we need to actually run the actual command prompt for this program, which is rm capital A pps dot cmd, and then you just hit enter. And as you can see, this is now working. For this one, you're just going to type in S and hit enter. It's going to give you a lot of errors, just ignore that. Okay, and then the next thing we have is we're going to type in Y and then enter. Y, enter again, Y and enter. Keep doing this until you get Cortana to show up. Do we want to disable Cortana? Yes, we do, so press Y and enter again. Disable Windows Defender? Yes, we want to disable Windows Defender. OneDrive? Again, yes. And it should say the operation completed successfully. Once this is done, you're good to go. You don't need to use this anymore, and you can close out of it. So just close this, and we're going to continue with the Windows installation. Hit next, install now. And I apologize for the crude recording, but I tried to record this through my capture card and it refused to do so. It's kind of stuck with it. It is what it is. Okay, when this pops up, we're just going to hit I don't have a key. You could put your key in there if you want to. If you have one, feel free to do so. If you don't, I can recommend just buying one off of eBay for like $1. They're more than likely used keys, but for $1, who cares? We're just using this for botting anyway. You shouldn't be using this for your main PC, so for $1, I think it's worthwhile. Windows 10 Pro is the one you should select. Hit next. You gotta be patient with this. It's gonna be very slow to do all of this, so just have some patience, let it do its thing. Hit I accept the license terms, the little checkbox there. Hit next. We need to go down to custom install Windows Only Advanced. Okay, so this is how your screen and my screen are going to differ. You're going to see here that I have many partitions. You may only have one or two, or whatever the case may be. You want to delete all of them. All partitions need to be deleted. So go through here and just click on each one and delete every single one of them. Just like I'm doing here. Okay, once you have that done, hit the new button, hit apply. We don't need to change this at all. You're going to hit OK. Again, just be patient. It's going to take a while. This next part's going to take what's going to feel like forever. I'm going to skip over that for you guys so you don't have to watch it once I get it going. Alright, so once that's done, you don't need to change anything whatsoever. You just hit next. And then it's going to go through the installation. Now, keep in mind this is going to take a really long time, like I said. So I'm going to jump cut here just so you guys don't have to watch it, but do not do anything. Let it install. It's going to restart probably numerous times. There's no real reason for you to do anything here other than let it finish. Once that gets done, I'll bring you back from the jump cut and I'll show you what to do after. Alright, and once you have that done, we're going to go ahead and pick our country, our keyboard, all that stuff. Obviously, whatever is best for you is fine here as well. And we're going to click no on most of the stuff here, so we don't want to add a second keyboard. I suppose you could if you want to, there's not really a need to. We need to add a network, obviously, because we need Wi-Fi, or you could plug it in directly. That's up to you. I mean, it's whichever. Let's see here, I've got my own network, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to connect to it. Okay. Once that's done, we're going to hit next. Technically, you don't need to connect to the internet right away. It may actually be better not to. But either way, that's up to you, whether or not you want to do that. That's fine. Just hit skip. Actually, I'm going to use... So right here you can use an offline account if you want to. Mine, because it couldn't connect for some reason, that's why it's doing what it's doing. But down here there should be a button that says use offline account. That's what I recommend doing. And then the password, I recommend just not having a password. Again, we're not using this for everyday use. So this computer does not need to be secure, because the only person that's going to have any access to it is just you anyway. Go ahead and hit no. And we're going to basically say no to just about everything. Let's see here. What else do we have? Find my device. No. Inking and typing. Thank you. None of this stuff is important, and well, it's just going to slow us down, so just turn off everything, basically. Not to mention the spying that Windows likes to do if you don't turn those things off. Okay, this will take probably another few minutes for this to get going. I may fast forward through it if it takes too long here. Okay, so now that we're into Windows itself, the very first thing we're going to do is turn off Windows Update. Okay, right click the Windows button, click search, and we're going to type in gpedit. It's probably the one I need, but just in case. .msc, looks like it. Okay, we're going to navigate to computer configuration, and then administrative templates, I believe Windows components, yep. And then we're going to scroll down to Windows Update. And then configure automatic updates. So we need to find that, which is right here. Oops. Alright, and then we want to click on Disabled. And the reason we're doing that is just to disable Windows Update, that's it. The next thing I would recommend that you do is go to search again, type in power and sleep settings. We don't really want this to turn off, because when we're using TeamViewer it tends to cause problems. So what we're going to do is we're just going to never have it turn off. This is a preference thing. You don't have to do this way. But I think overall it's a good idea. Okay. And then let's see. There's something else in here that I wanted to... Oh, here we go. We want best performance. We never want best energy savings, because this thing is just not that powerful. It's not that fast. It doesn't use that much electricity anyway. So we want performance over energy. Okay, you can close out of that. And then when it comes to Kolbot, there's a couple of things we need to do before we do that. So we need to go to the device manager first. Oops. No, that doesn't matter. You can do it this way, or I believe it is actually on that right-click menu, but whichever, it doesn't matter. Just go to the device menu. and then wait till this comes around. Okay, so we've got a few things that are unknown. Now we don't need all of these, but we do need a few of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through here with each one of these and say update, search automatically, and it should go online and find the driver for a few of these. It's not going to get all of them, but go through and do as many of these as you can, because one of these is the SD card reader. And we're just going to go through and do this. I'll probably fast forward this for you guys, just so you don't have to see it all, but just go through here and do this for every single one of these. I actually left out a step that I apologize for, so I'm going to have to cut this in, but make sure you install TeamViewer. If you've never used TeamViewer before, I'll show you a quick little way to set it up. It's not that hard. It is free as long as it's for personal use. If you use it for commercial use, they do want you to pay for a license, so obviously we don't want to do that. Download TeamViewer. You can just click run. You don't have to save any of these files. VC++, TeamViewer, .Netframework if you need it. All these things you have to install. There's no real reason to save them. So just make sure that you just run them instead. Should be good to go. I'll show the install process for this real quick, and then I will let it cut to where I was previously. Okay, so we're going to go to custom installation with unintended access support, personal, yes. And again, you could install this to your SD card or to your flash drive if you wanted to. You don't have to install it to the hard drive, but once we have everything that we need, it doesn't really matter anymore. We're good to go. I wouldn't recommend putting your Diablo 2 or your Kolbot files and folders on your internal hard drive though. Just isn't enough space for all this stuff. Now, once we get this installed and set up, we obviously need it to make sure that it's running all the time. And the reason for that is that way we don't have to get out our keyboard and everything and have to use it like we are now. Once we get this set up, we can just log in any old time. So the computer name, again, you can name it whatever you want. I generally name mine Kolbot 1234567. I don't put a password on mine. That is risky. Someone could get access to it if they got access to your TeamViewer account. However, just make sure that you don't have easy passwords for your TeamViewer account. And then for me, I'm going to click on I already have one. If you don't already have one, then you're going to need to create one. It's going to be the easiest way. Your email, your password, all that good stuff. You're going to put that in there, and then you're going to hit next. Okay, and usually it will send you like a little authorization code in your email that you have to click on and tell it to trust that device. Just do that. And then once you're done, it should work. Should log in, save it, hit finish. And then what we want to do is click on the Grant Easy Access button. And what that's going to do is it means we don't have to type in this your ID and password deal. So that's very important so that you don't have to do that. Alright, now I'm going to show the portion where I get Kolbot, Diablo 2, and of course get it all set up and ready to go. Now what I suggest you do is take your existing Kolbot and your existing Diablo 2 folders and copy them over entirely. And what this is going to do for you is it's going to be able to just copy those on your your flash drive, and then you can copy them over to your SD card. And you do not need to install Diablo 2 onto this machine. All you have to do is just copy over your Diablo 2 folder and it should work. Just make sure that your Diablo 2 is fully updated to 1.14D already and then copy it over. Now I've already gone through that and done that once before, so I'm not going to do it again. This is my flash drive here, and this is my SD card. I don't know why it says USB drive E, but this is actually my SD card, so that had me kind of swapped around there for a moment. The point is Diablo 2 and Kolbot are here. You can put it on your flash drive and copy it over. So once that's done, you're going to have to come in here and make sure that we do all the usual things that we've done in the past. So compatibility, for example, it's not going to be automatically done. So Windows 7, Windows Admin, and then just in case, even though usually you don't need to, I'm going to come in here and do the same thing with the game.exe, or just game if you don't have file extensions turned on. It's taking a second there. I'm not sure what's going on in the background either. I think I stopped all the updates, but I'm not 100% sure. Alright, and there you can see that it's running now. It's a little choppy right now, but once it gets all the drivers and everything installed, it won't be choppy anymore. Ideally, what you should do is actually just let this thing sit for a little bit and get all of the drivers installed by itself, because if you're connected to the internet, it will do that automatically because it's Windows 10, so you don't have to worry about that. And once that's done, it won't be choppy like this. It'll be like I showed in the original video. So if it's not, and it's still a little choppy after everything's said and done, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go ahead and restart the Atomic Pi. So just go down to your power options and restart it, and it should be really good after that. You shouldn't have any issues. So that's it. That's all. I know I've skipped a lot through this video and really omitted a lot of things, but this is kind of a complicated setup, and I don't really want to go too in-depth with certain things, because unfortunately I have to kind of assume certain people know how to do certain things. If you have a problem or if you're unsure about something, feel free to put it down in the comments. I'll try to answer your guys' comments, but most of what we're doing after we get done with the command entrance, or excuse me, with the batch editing of the Windows installation, is we're mostly just installing Windows and doing all the normal things that we would do to install Kolbot. So there's really not a lot there to talk about, so I hope that it's alright if I skip that. Anyway guys, if you like these videos, please like and subscribe. As I said before, I know these are a little different, but I think this is really neat that this runs and operates this particular bot, because it's not very often you run into a single board computer that's not only affordable, but is able to run multiple bots for a pretty low price. We'll see you next time guys. Have a great one.